In this video, I will try to give flow of PMP, how things passed, what are the things you must know, and how to identify where you are in the journey of PMP. So let's see how we work on that. The first thing in the journey of PMP is basically you get a project charter at your hand. Now this is an important thing to understand. Whatever has happened before project charter, right? We have made business case, benefit management plan, okay, and before that need assessment. These things are before the project charter, and although project manager may be responsible within that, they are not the responsibility of the project manager. The project manager is actually assigned at the project charter area, so his key responsibility starts with the project charter. Once the project charter is officialized, project manager is selected, sponsor is selected, project is selected, and all the detailed high level information is in the project charter. With the project charter, assumption log is created. Now this is very important thing to understand. These three documents are the fixed document. Project manager cannot change that. Change control board or change request cannot update these three documents. But assumption log is just a document that can be updated anytime throughout the project. So that's assumption log. As soon as this is done, the project manager start sharing the project charter with the identified stakeholders, and we start making stakeholder register. This is the first step. Charter is approved, share with the key stakeholder, start making stakeholder register. A very important thing to do. Once you identify all the stakeholders, I'm not going to go into details how you identify, like using documents, charter, plans, SWOT analysis, things like that. For that, you can watch the detailed journeys of each topic. But you identify the stakeholder in the stakeholder register, you categorize them to power, interest, salience model, stakeholder cube, uppers, downwards, sideways, all things. Once you have done that, then you make stakeholder engagement matrix. Stakeholder engagement matrix. Once you have made the stakeholder engagement matrix, the next thing, understanding the current engagement level of stakeholder and the desired engagement level of stakeholder. The next thing is basically making a stakeholder engagement plan. So in my opinion, stakeholder engagement plan is the first thing that you do. Acha, one more thing, if I put initiation ends here. This is the initiation domain. If I also can give in the form of process group, initiation ends here. Once you make stakeholder engagement matrix and then stakeholder engagement plan, planning has started. Now we are making all the plans. We will make all the plans and then we will add those plans into project management plan. So I'm gonna give, in my opinion, how these plans are made. Once the stakeholder engagement plan is made, in correspondence, we also make communication management plan. So communication management plan is all about right information, right time to right people to have right impact. So we make communication management plan to satisfy the need of the stakeholders. That's it. To see how these stakeholders are going to be satisfied. What format we need to communicate to them. What tools we need to do. Stakeholder engagement plan is all about what are the strategies we need to satisfy the stakeholder. Communication is right format, right time, frequency, things like that. So we make communication management plan and we send it for approval. Now the third plan that is being made in correspondence is resource management plan. Okay, resource engagement plan, resource management plan. How do we identify the resource? What are the types of the resource? Physical resources, virtual resources. Right now, PMP is very heavy on virtual resources. Of course, the Tuckman ladder plays a great role here. It is productivity, time, forming, storming, norming, performing, and journaling. Okay, so we make the plan according to that. In the resource management plan, we identify the RESI, what are the responsibility, accountability, consult, inform. We identify the physical resources. Actually, we do that informing. Do we need physical resources or virtual resources? If we want physical resources, what are the challenges like accommodations, providing food and utilities, bus. If we want virtual resources, how we are going to challenge the global time zone issue, what time is it there, what time is with you, how we are going to manage the video issue, the background noise. Every family has a background noise, their kids can be there, someone's house can be on the near the road, near the place where the like airports or the railway station, the sound can go. So we identify the virtual challenges and we handle them accordingly in the forming stage. We identify what are the types of the skills we require, we provide them, we make team charter. Actually team make the team charter ground rules, but we facilitate that. Here the stage is more of a forming stage. So we identify all these things in the resource management plan. Interestingly, resource management plan actually happens before forming stage or till forming stage. So once the resource management plan is done, all the information is done, we give it to approval. All other things will come in execution, and I'll get back to the document later in execution. Once the resource management plan is being made, we start making the plan of quality. Now quality management plan is being made here, considering what are the standards we are going to follow, what are the tools and techniques we are going to use, what will be the cost of quality, cost of conformance, non-conformance, what standards like benchmarking we use, what are the techniques we are going to make, and we also make, in addition to quality management plan, quality matrices. What are the KPIs we are going to measure in this process? So KPI matrix is also being measured in this process. So now quality plan is being made, things are being made. Then now we go towards the risk. Of course, now risk plan and stakeholder is more of an iterative plan. We keep on doing that, but initially we make risk management plan. Risk is a very heavy on our planning phase. We make a risk management plan which defines the tolerance of the stakeholders, which define the knowledge seekers, ours, which defines how, what are the matrices you are going to use for probability and impact, what is the threshold of the stakeholders, past registers, and we make a risk management plan. Now all the steps have only one processes, but here in risk management plan, once the risk management plan is made, we identify the risk. We start identifying the risk through all the tools and techniques, SWOT, assumption analysis, pestle analysis. Once we identify the risk, we put all of them in risk register with this potential owner and potential response. Then we rank them qualitatively, probability and impact, low, medium, high. Then if needed, quantitatively, like giving the number of those risks. And then we put plan risk response. What are the responses for each risk? What are the responses? How you are going to tackle this particular risk in a particular fashion. So we see plan risk response both for positive and negative risk. So once we make plan risk response, it actually update all the plans, even the plan scope, schedule, cost, which we'll make later. It update all the plans once plan risk response is updated, because as a result you need to put a contingency reserves, the reserves for identified risk, then you need to put management reserve, the reserves for unidentified risk. So everything need to be put it here. So risk management plan is made. Now we make scope management. We went to the scope domain. So first we make requirement management plan. We collect requirement management plan defines how the requirements will be collected, defined, and we collect all the requirement through various tools, prototype, context diagram, focus group, and we make requirement documentation, classification of requirement into functional, non-functional, stakeholder solution, and requirement traceability metrics. The metrics that require track the requirement from start till end, everything is written in here. Are very important to documents. So requirement management plan helps this thing. Once this is done, then we use scope management plan to define project scope statement. Like we have collected all the requirements. Now we put the filter on those requirements and we get project scope statement from there. Okay, project scope statement. What is in the project, what is outside the project, what are the assumptions, what are the constraints. Everything must be mentioned in the project scope statement. Understand this thing. If something is not in the project scope statement, we don't make that. Okay, because that is things that go to scope baseline. So we use product divisions, decomposition, value engineering, cost analysis to make project scope statement. Then we divide the project scope statement into work, like we divide the deliverable into WBS. Okay, things like this, and we make WBS dictionary. We get it approved project scope statement WBS and WBS dictionary, and that is basically we have our first baseline, scope baseline. Okay, so the next is schedule baseline. So the lowest part of WBS is called as a work package. Okay, so this is basically scope baseline is made in a scope management plan, requirement management plan, and scope baseline. These are the things planning from scope. Then we go with the schedule. In schedule, we make schedule management plan that defines the tolerance, which software you are going to use, things like that. Then we divide the work package into activities, activity list. We sequence those activities. We put the dependencies, mandatory, discretionary, internal, external. We see what are the logic between them. Finish to start, start to start, finish to finish, start to finish. And we make precedence diagramming methods, like things like that. Like activity A, B, C, D. This is basically precedence diagramming method. We calculate this duration through analogous estimation, parametric 3-point bottom-up estimation. We calculate duration, we form critical path method, and we calculate the durations of each activity. We add that, we get our schedule baseline, project schedule, schedule data, things like that. And schedule baseline is output here, basically the main thing in the planning area of this one. Then we make a cost plan. We make a cost management plan. Through cost management plan, we estimate all the cost of each activities, and we get our cost baseline. Remember this thing that in cost, basically in cost, activity cost plus contingency reserves are added. In project budget, management cost, management reserves are also added. So that's a little bit different. I hope you understand this. Once all this is done, then we identify what are the work we can do inside and what are the work we need to do outside. We need the work from outside. So make or buy decisions. So we make procurement management plan. Okay. So make or buy decision is made. Should we make it? Should we buy it? If we decide we want to go for buy, then we see, okay, what we should buy from outside, what are source selection criteria, what type of contract we have, depending upon the scope. If scope is fixed, we go with the fixed price contract. Not then cost reimbursement or time and material. We select the contract. We go procurement phase, procurement strategy. As a result, we make procurement management plan and procurement statement of work. So this all things, if I use green marker just to differentiate from stakeholder engagement plan, all these things happens in planning domain. All these things, all the plans are being made in planning. So just for a review, just for a sequence, we started with the stakeholder engagement plan, then we made communication management plan, then we made resource management plan. Then these three plans are made in sequence. Then you can either make scope, schedule, cost plans, and according to that you make quality plans, and with parallel you make risk plan. But procurement is always done after we have a scope plan at our hand, because from there we understand what are the things we need to do and what we can do inside and what we can do outside. So once this is done, the next thing, like all these plans goes into one comprehensive plan that is called as project management plan. Once the project management plan is made, we give the project management plan to the sponsor, to the steering committee, stakeholder. If they approve the project management plan, now we are ready to go. Now we do kick-off meeting, especially in a kick-off meeting. And that is more of a predictive way. In agile, we work in Scrum, so maybe I'll give a little bit hint of agile also. Achha. Then we move to the next thing, project management plan. We start working on the project management plan. So when we start working on the project management plan, what is happening here? Let me go to the initial phase. So as we are implementing project management plan, The first step is basically here to get the team, to identify their needs, to train the team members, to make up them a proper team. The goal is when we start execution, the team goes from forming to performing, but actually it never happens. The team passes to the phases. First the team goes to storming, we need to coach them, then they go to norming, then go to performing. So we train the team member, we identify their needs, we see what are the things that we need to work with the team members, how we can promote them, how we can work each other, and the team moves. Once the team moves from performing stage and norming, and the team will identify their needs, what are the needs of the team. As a servant leader, we act like a servant leader to train the team in the best possible way. We identify the training need, train them, measure the objective, and keep on doing that. You see, at any time, at a different cycles, the team will need different things. So we need to provide those training needs to the team members. Okay, so we are managing the resource, and as we are managing the resource, these resources these resources will implement quality management plan, okay, merging the process, doing the audit of the quality, and making sure we are doing the right deliverables which are being produced in execution. They go, these quality people, they, let me put a hat on there because they are quality people, they go and they make sure that the deliverables that are being produced are of quality. They are auditing them using checklist and quality management plan reference. So work performance data, the raw information is being produced. Of course, we are in execution, issues will occur, issue log will be produced, and the most important thing that we are working on, deliverable, which quality team has more focus on, that is being produced. And as we are working, we are also writing lessons learned. We are collaborating, we are working together, and we are trying to implement the lesson learned which have been done. And these team members, the resource which we have, they are also checking the risk, and if a trigger of any risk occurred, they implement the risk response plan. Okay, they implement the risk response plan. Implementation is also kind of their responsibility to make sure that those things are falling in the right place. They are also implementing, because that's of a resource, communication management plan, communicating with the stakeholder, making sure right information goes to the right person at the right time. The managed communication, put it in the right way, is the post office of the project. All the communication that happens to the project comes to the managed communication and moves out through the managed communication. So we do the managed communication in this way. So the managed communication occurs here, communication comes here, we do it through the managed communication, and we kind of keep on doing that, keep of producing information to the people. So the communication comes, we do that. We are doing communication only for one purpose: manage stakeholder expectation. We are making sure the stakeholder current engagement level and or desired engagement level is according to our requirement. So we are doing that. So in the meanwhile, the team is also having a team, or a project manager is also having discussion with the procurement team, having a discussion with the procurement sellers. They are having agreement with us. They are having a, what to say, bidder conference. Yes, they are having a bidder conference with the sellers, and from there, from the shortlisted sellers, they select the sellers, and of course the procurement department does all the negotiation with them. Project manager does not do. So to put in summary, what are the things, and all these things are in execution. So to put in the summary, what is being done in the execution. In execution, we are training the team members. The team members are coming here. We are managing the conflict between the team members. We are developing, as a project manager, developing the team member, working on them, that we work in a positive way and that they can learn from each thing. We identify their training need, help them manage the conflict of all the people, and then these team members in the end, as a result, not in the end, manage the quality, make sure the deliverables that are produced are of right quality. They implement the risk response, they handle the procurement, get the agreements, manage the communication, write the lesson learned, and manage stakeholder engagement. So all these things are happening in execution. So this is the execution domain. Then let's work on the monitor and control. So to put in simple and plain words, this is monitoring and control is all about just one thing, and that is variance analysis. Okay. that is variance analysis, checking plan versus actual, putting the variance and giving the variance accordingly. The most important variance here is schedule variance, like what is earned value minus planned value, and cost variance, earned value minus actual cost. You can also put it as SPI, earned value divided by planned value, or CPI, earned value divided by actual cost. Greater than 1 is good, less than 1 is bad. Very important for the exam. We also do monitor risk, we review the risk, we do the risk audit, we see where we do identify the new risk and the risk that we have implemented, we see what are the residual risk, accepted risk, or a secondary risk as a result of that. We are also releasing the resources as the project is going on. Again, checking plan versus actual, the engagement level of the stakeholder according to stakeholder engagement plan. Are they satisfied? If they are not satisfied, we change our communication and stakeholder plan with them. Remember this thing, whenever the stakeholders are not satisfied, the basic reason is that you are not communicating them properly. So stakeholder and communication plan goes hand in hand. Then you check your scope, schedule, cost, where do you stand. And in quality is very interesting. The deliverables that were produced, it goes to quality. Now this is called journey of deliverable. Deliverables that were produced goes to control quality. Okay, so control quality, check them. If they accept it, it is called as verified deliverable. If not, it becomes change request. So verified deliverable goes to validate scope. Okay, validate scope. In validate scope, the client do the inspection and decision making on them. If the client accept according to the agreed scope baseline, it becomes accepted deliverable. Okay, diamond symbol here. If not, again change request on which we do preventive, corrective, and defective way. And if it is accepted deliverable to closing the project. I'll talk about closing in a while. So the journey of deliverables. All the work performance data that were produced from all the area, like work performance data is a raw information, all the information without any understanding. It goes to all the department, scope, schedule, cost. Each department get that data and compare it with their own plan, and they produce, data get produced into, this is the work performance data journey, into work performance information which get produced into work performance report. Data get converted into information, information get converted into report. So two very important journey. So the third one is the journey of change request, as I like to call it as journey of change request. Now anyone can request a change, team member, stakeholder. So I'm gonna put it in two ways: the change request from the customer and change request from the stakeholder or team member. So let's say a change has been requested, and put it there. Change requested, change initiated. So when we say the change is requested, it must be in a formal form. It must be in a formal form. So the change is requested here. Okay, it directly go in the change log. The PM reviews the change and consider the change is valuable or not. Is it affecting the deliverable, valuable or not? If no, we give the notice. We update the we provide the notice and we update that. If yes, if the change is valuable, yes, we start doing analysis on that, a detailed analysis. After detailed analysis, the project manager check whether he can approve the change request. It lies within his authority, or he goes to change control board. The change is low, medium, or he also needs sponsor for that. This is the change control board without sponsor, this is a sponsor. If the change is very high, then we involve the sponsor. Once the change is approved, again if the change is denied here, so we say no. If the change is approved here, we build the change, update the change log, we communicate to everyone, change is there. This happens in this step. Build it, like balances the scope baseline, change, update the change log, communicate. We then, once this is done, we implement the change request. Communicate to everyone, and again rebalance the project, and we keep on doing that. So this was change requested from anyone, not the customer. If the customer requests the change directly comes to the PM as this area. It does not check whether this change affect the deliverables or not. The customer says here, it directly checks the change. He does the detailed analysis on that, and if that change is affecting scope, actual cost, he tells the customer, hey customer, this change is affecting. Do you want me to move ahead, go to change control board? It is gonna cost you more. It's gonna make this much time more. The customer said yes, go ahead. Then the same process will follow. So this is how the change happens in a predictive environment. Now let's say this environment was agile. If this environment was agile, I'll come to the basis of agile in this video. So if the change is agile, the change directly goes to the product owner. He put all the changes in the product backlog, and with that, stakeholders and all the people, he put them as high value, high risk. If that change becomes at high value, it goes and it is proceeded in the next sprint. If it is low value, it is still in the product backlog. All the changes must come and we put them into the product backlog, but they are worked according to their priority. Now this is all about monitoring and control. Finally, the last thing is closing of project. Okay, so closing of project is you have all the accepted deliver that comes to all the project plan, business documents, procurement documents. One more thing. In the procurement, in the procurement domain for monitoring and control, you inspect the deliverables. If the deliverables are not according to your agreement, then you try to negotiate with them, try to get an agreement. If you cannot get an agreement, you try a mediator. You try to do what is written in the contract. If not, then you go to the court. You try to close all the procurement floor before going to closing the project. But if the procurements are not closed, we can come to the closing of the project. We can come to that area. So we are in the closing, the procurements are there, everything is there. The accepted deliverable get converted into final product that is being shifted to the people. We start writing final report. We start writing lesson learned register. We start writing project update document. Once all the lesson learned registers are written, they are updated. It goes to lesson learned repository. Project documents are updated. It goes to archive. The project final report is written with the variance analysis, regression analysis. It is shown to the sponsor. The sponsor says good. Then we communicate it to all the people. Once we communicate it, then we start releasing the team, start doing the administrative closure, release the resources, close the contract, and celebrate the success. Celebration of success is the part of this domain. This is an important thing. So this is all about the flow of PMP. My goal through this video was to give you the flow of PMP. Now if we just give in a quick way the flow of agile, I'm not gonna go with the 4 values. I hope you know individual and interaction over processes and tool, customer collaboration over contract negotiation, responding to change or following up plans, working software or comprehensive documentation, and teams are co-located. We want the cross-functional team. We want the team is everything. The 3 roles are important: product owner, scrum master, servant leader, and development team. So the most of the dominant structure is like the most important thing about agile is you need to have a servant leadership mentality, that the person, he shields the team from all the problem, he helps the team, he is for the team. Even if a problem occurs with product owner and the team, he is with the team, he is guarding the team, having a father mentality, identifying the training need, helping them, giving them caves and common, giving them an area where they can have a burn down, burn up chart, information radiator, co-locating the team, helping the teams. All these are servant leadership mentality. Agile mindset. Agile says that we have a cross-functional team. Agile says that we deliver the team incrementally as well as iteratively in parts. We respect the customer. Whatever the change the customer asks, we provide them the change. At any time the change can happen. We have to harness change for the value of the customer. The teams are most important. Customer is most important. That's more of an agile mindset as compared to predictive mindset. So few things about the Scrum, who has inspection, transparency, and adoption as the principles or the mindset. Whenever the requirement or the user story comes, we know 3C. We write the user story in card, we have conversation, confirmation, and we know the invest acronym of the user stories. All the user stories must be independent, negotiable, valuable, estimable, smallable, testable. All the user stories, product owner basically gets all the user stories from the stakeholder, sponsor, and put them into the product backlog. Okay, once all the user stories are there, okay, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. He goes back to the sponsors and asks them, hey, why don't you rate the user stories high value, high risk using Moscow technique? Must have, should have, could have, would likely to have, dot point, monopoly, voting. So all those things he put the product backlog as high value, high risk. Okay, product owner does that. It's his responsibility. Understanding the thing, understanding about the product. Then the development team comes, Scrum Master comes, we have sprint planning meeting, in which basically in the first sprint planning meeting we basically put the story points on all these things. Story points can be put by using various techniques like ideal days, ideal odds, affinity estimation, small t set, large, medium, or Fibonacci series, that 1, 2, 3, 5, 8. In order to get consensus on all these three techniques, we use planning poker and we use wide band Delphi. Once we have reached the consensus on the story points that we are using, so we put story points on them. I'm just putting 3 points: 5, 8, 3, 15, 6, 1, 5, 8. So once we have put the story point on it, the team gives that we can complete this much work in our first sprint. That is estimated velocity. Velocity is the number of story points you can do. Story point is the effort required to complete a user story. So we said what is our velocity. We provide them the velocity according to our velocity. Let's say we put the velocity of the first is 15. So this will come here 5 plus 8, 13, 13. 13, and then we cannot use any of them, and this will come here A5, B8, F1. So we'll say okay, we'll complete this much work. So we communicate the sprint. This becomes sprint backlog, product backlog. This product backlog, this is sprint backlog. Okay, we tell them okay, we are gonna do this thing, and we share the sprint goal to all the stakeholders. Then we start working on it. Then we also decide the length of a sprint. Normally it is 1 to 4. Let's say it is 2 weeks. We do daily stand-up in which the Scrum Master, a developer team, asks 3 questions at the same location, co-located area for 15 minutes. 15 minutes is important here. What we did yesterday, what we are going to do today, is there any impediment, roadblocks? We discuss those things, and we have information radiator, burn up chart, task board, Kanban board, whichever work in progress limitation. Once the sprint is completed, we go into sprint review, where basically we show them what we have done. So we have a definition of done, a checklist that we use to see what are the user stories have been completed. A user story has to be completed 100%, otherwise it is not accepted. Agile does not consider 99%, it considers 100%. So we go through the definition of done, all the things are there. Then the customer have their acceptance criteria, again their checklist. Once they match that, if the product is accepted, it goes into release. If not, it goes back into product backlog. A new requirements can be added. Stories are accepted or rejected. New requirements can be added, and product backlog is reproduced, which is called as refinement of product backlog or grooming of product backlog. Once the team is gone, once the sponsor is gone, everyone is here in the meeting. We have sprint retrospective to see how we are doing, what are the things we can do. So we review ourselves, what we did good, what we did bad, how we can improve. 5 stages, set the stage in which we clarify why we want to have gather data. We gather all the data, we generate insights, root cause things, and we decide 1 or 2 improvement and close the retrospect. So that's a scrum that you need to understand for your PMP exam, and that's the entire flow of PMP. I hope this video has been useful for you, and in the minimum possible time I gave a right flow in which you, and that was a missing piece you need for your PMP exam. Thank you very much for watching. If you have not subscribed to our channel, do subscribe it. My commitment to YouTube is increasing on day by day. I'm giving more polls, more information, 1 minute videos, coaching call, full length videos, journeys video, topic videos, so much more things. Do subscribe the channel. I hope you consider it, like it, share it with your friends. And if you want PMP training, you can join my one-to-one program where I'll make sure you cleared before 31st December, or my batch starting on Friday. Thank you very much. Become PMP, and bye bye.